In every iteration, Amos is a badass, unstoppable force of nature. He, you know, Kato can be is like a mercenary, right? He's directed at whomever he's directed at, and he takes orders. But Amos fights at the core to his survival, speaking back to his trauma. And that just informs everything that he goes forward, and he's a survivor. And as I stated in the books with the spoilers, like that extrapolates into like the ultimate survivor. And he is not going to be stopped by someone who knows martial arts and is really smart.
Listen, man, I understand, Amos Burton is considered like a really strong guy. But I mean, let's take stock of the people he actually fights most of the time. Who are we fighting? Who are we really fighting here? Are we fighting dangerous thugs most of the time? Not really. Who are we fighting? Belters? Beltaloda? People who grew up in zero G, who have weak limbs. I remember one of the times he fought somebody bigger than him. Didn't he need help to finish that fight?
He threw him down a well.
Yeah, after the guy was shot. I feel like we've done this fight before somewhere. I mean, some bumpkin who's a brawler, who has like a really strict sensibility about justice. Didn't Kato kick his ass in the last one? Oh no, that was Wayne. But you know what? Repeat performances are good, I guess. That's okay. We give the crowd what they want here. When Kato goes out and fights people, not only do they have weapons, they got guns, brass knuckles. They got dudes like swinging from ropes, like trying to hang people and stuff. Like, this is weird. This is really weird stuff. I mean, it's not proto-molecule, but let's be honest, man. Like, the street, it's scary on the streets, man. It's super scary, bro. And we have like 5 people coming at you. The person you want by your side is somebody who not only can stay cool in a fight, can take directions to the letter, and they know without you having to tell them to restrain themselves. That's the kind of person you want on your side.
I think that the argument against Amos starts as a very reductionist, because he fights people besides belters. He has a long-standing career throughout the books and the show that includes, in the books, he actually becomes like an enforcement agent for the OPA and is traveling around policing the belt. In the show, he takes on Martians and wins. He takes on molecules. What do you think Kato would be able to do against that? He'd try the knockout gas, but it's not human anymore, so that wouldn't work. He'd try and kick it, and it would punch him into orbit. Like, he wouldn't be able to take on a proto-molecule monster if he came down to it. And Amos did. He's killed many. He's gone on all sorts of missions. He is essentially a special forces agent. Amos is shown on the show to be able to have lightning-fast reflexes that can catch a drill out of thin air and stop it from getting cracks in the face. So he is not that slow, despite how much of a supposed brawler he is. He is ruthless, and he is driven by his own survival, and he will do anything.
I think like the thing about Kato is that, like Amos, like he's somebody who is like, I mean, he goes out and he fights, but what it comes down to is you gotta survive, man. Like that's what it really comes down to. It's like this is a hurdle you have to overcome. These guys are bigger than you, they're stronger than you, they might have more reach than you, and God help you if they're faster than you. So what do you gotta do? You gotta overcome all that. You gotta like come up with a way, strategies. What do? You go for like pressure points. What do? You dance around a little bit, you tire them out a little bit. Like I think like Kato is in a unique position where he out of necessity, he had to learn how to do that, that is exactly what makes him the kind of man that's able to like overcome those kinds of deficiencies, in like size and stature, it's all about focusing on the things you can control.
He does take on several Martian Marines. Bobby specifically, he can take on Marines who are highly skilled, highly trained, are, martial warriors, technically, and really tough. And Bobby, he couldn't, but Bobby's the ultimate Marine. Other Marines tremble at the sight of her, and I think, and he does admirably against most Marines. So, he is the physical equivalent of a gun going off. That is Amos Burton. You cannot stop him. He is relentless and ruthless and will stop at nothing until he is dead. Now, between the two, if I had to fight either of them, I would, I know I'd get my ass kicked by either of them. He'd take on Wayne, but, Wayne is the toughest guy in Letterkenny. What is he gonna do against Kato, who's a world-renowned, martial artist, right? But, Amos is beyond international. He's intergalactic. He is the deadliest thing on several worlds. And Kato is an amazing martial artist on Earth.
Okay, so for in closing, I mean, what it comes down to is, who do you think is the bad? It's not, you're not just fighting Bruce Lee. It's not just Bruce Lee. It'd be one thing if you were just fighting Bruce Lee. This is Bruce Lee on crack, man. This is Kato. This is the genius, mechanic, master martial artist that went to Tibet to help monks fight the Chinese army, Kato, right? This guy is serious business. Yeah, he may just exist only on Earth, but you know what? Where Amos Burton is not most of the time? Earth. I wonder why. But out in the belt, maybe trying to stay away from Kato, who knows? But I'm not the one to say. But what I will say is that, Kato is just like I said, he is the sidekick you want. What it comes down to is, you want somebody who is self-activating. You don't need to tell him anything. He's he goes somewhere, the job is done, and you don't need to ask any questions.
So Amos Burton, when he's on Earth, spends time in one of the deadliest places on Earth. He grew up on those streets and knows the deadliest parts of Earth, and then went on to engage with the deadliest parts of the known universe. Kato is essentially a mercenary, and you might think it's nice to hand people over to the police, but I don't think I have to tell you that the police are awful. It's a terrible world that we live in. Special Forces, Amos Burton, right? He doesn't do things on. He does things for a new government that is more inclined towards the needs of the people. It is ideological, whereas Kato can be pointed at people by Jeff Bezos.